Reading through the Revelation. Here we are in chapter 3. We're picking up with verse 7, the message to the church in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a word that means the city of brotherly love. That's a beautiful portrait of a city that you could be called the city of brotherly love. Well, we pick it up in verse 7. Write this letter or this message to the angel of the church in Philadelphia. This church was small, it seems like, from what we read here. It seems like it was a poor church. And even though the cities of the Revelation in chapter 2 and chapter 3, many of them were wealthy cities, here we find the church didn't seem to have much. And like many of the other churches, they were harassed, persecuted. And so we find the temptation to compromise with that pressure of being persecuted for Jesus Christ's sake. Well, verse 7, write this letter to the angel of the church in Philadelphia. This is the message from the one who is holy and true, the one who has the key of David. Keys always resemble authority, who has the authority of King David, and Jesus was in the line of King David. What he opens, no one can close, and what he closes, no one can open. Notice in verse 8, I know all the things you do, and I have opened a door for you. Most likely a door of opportunity to be a witness for Jesus Christ, to be an outstanding witness for Christ in this city. I have opened a door for you that no one can close. Matter of fact, in this message to this church of Philadelphia, there is no reproof, there is no rebuke. It's all commendation, basically. You have little strength, yet you obeyed my word and did not deny me. Look, I will force those who belong to Satan's synagogue, those liars who say they are Jews but are not, to come and bow down at your feet. Basically, what was going on in the time that this was written was there were Christians who were Jews but had accepted Jesus as the Messiah. And so they were Christian Jews. Today we often call them Messianic Jews. But there were Jews who didn't accept the Messiah and held to the traditions and the rituals of the Jewish faith. And so you had Jews that were exempted from some things in the Roman Empire. They basically threw the Christians under the bus and said, we have no part with these heretics, these Christians. And so the Roman Empire came down hard on Christians, and yet they allowed exemptions for some that were strictly Jewish. So these Jews were opposed to anything Christian, anything that was the gospel moving forward in their community. They were a constant opposition to the kingdom of God. And so that's why the writer here is saying that they are a synagogue of Satan. They are opposing God's work and God's will. They will acknowledge that you are the ones I love. Verse 10, because you have obeyed my command to persevere, to hang in there, to endure patiently, I will protect, or I will keep you from the great time of testing that will come upon the whole world to test those who belong to this world. So you keep his word and persevere, and he will keep you. It may be keeping us from some trials, from some suffering, but he doesn't promise to keep us from every trial and every suffering. Christians don't have an exempt card from the trials and testings in life. And here we have in this verse in chapter 3. These folks, even though they go through trials, testings, and temptations, Jesus will keep them. He will be their strength in the midst of those trials. Some sufferings He will keep us in, some sufferings He will keep us from. But whatever happens, we must be faithful to Him. Verse 11, I am coming soon. Again, this is the imminent return of Jesus Christ. He could come at any moment, any time. And we must be ready. We must be watching. This is the main emphasis of Matthew 24 when Jesus talks about coming. Hold on to what you have so that no one will take away your crown. All who are victorious will become pillars in the temple of my God, and they will never have to leave it. And I will write on them the name of my God, and they will be citizens in the city of my God, the new Jerusalem that comes down from heaven from my God. And I will also write on them my new name. Again, symbolic language. In the towns of the Roman Empire, there were many buildings that had pillars, and on those pillars, often there would be names of great people, noteworthy people, noble people. And so the writer here, Jesus, is saying, I'm going to have spiritual pillars, and you're going to be those pillars, and you're going to have my name on you, and you are going to be noble, strong, and you won't be moved out of your place. This hit home to this church because the town often had earthquakes, and these pillars would fall over. But Jesus says, you're going to be victorious. You're going to be stable. You're going to be firm. Then Jesus says, I will also write on them my new name. Basically, when you write your name on something, it belongs to you. And so Jesus is saying, you belong to me. You're part of my kingdom. You're part of my citizenship. Anyone with ears to hear must listen to the Spirit and understand what He is saying to the churches. So we have looked at the church of Sardis, and we have looked at the church of Philadelphia, and now we come to the last church, Laodicea, and we'll pick that up in our next video. I want to say thank you for joining us. May God bless you and may God keep you.